What's up, everybody? Welcome back to KOPPAI Podcast, episode 75. I am one of your hosts, Kaz and Risk, joined alongside Mr. Koppai himself, Zach Risk.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, Zach.
Hey.
Today, we are going to be celebrating the happiest of birthdays for PlayStation VR, talking about my first impressions of the PlayStation VR unit. I had a little birthday, and my wife blessed me with my own headset so I can finally play VR at home. I was totally shocked and happy, and I've wanted it for ever since last year when they announced it, and they said it was coming out on October 13th, because I'm like, October 13th is my birthday, and I'm like, I want to get it for my birthday, and I did just 1 year later. And it actually happened at the best possible time because they had a huge blowout sale where they were giving like 65% off like every PlayStation VR game. Like not every PlayStation VR game, but some of the best ones. And so I was able to get, I think, about $250 worth of games for $100. And so we're going to be kind of going over, I think I can even pull up the games that were on sale. And we can talk about some of those because the sale should be still going on by the time you guys listen to this. And so if you have a PlayStation VR unit and you want to head over and grab some of those games, maybe we can give some of our recommendations. And we're also going to be talking about some of the games that I'm now super hyped to play because I have a VR unit. Some games we're looking forward to. And also maybe what games that we think could really benefit from VR and could be a VR franchise. You know, we got Skyrim coming out, which wasn't a VR game, but now is. We can talk about, even like Fallout's becoming VR and some other games. Gran Turismo's like adding in VR mode. Other games are adding in a VR mode. Lots of games are doing that. Maybe even kind of go back to our Nintendo roots and talk about, what Nintendo games could be really fun in VR. Definitely like Metroid and stuff like that. So we can brainstorm about stuff like that and just talk about really all things VR in celebration of 1 year of PlayStation VR. So
Yeah, VR. Oculus, Hive.
Oculus
Jump.
Also got a price cut down to $400. And what'd you say?
I said Hive Jump.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah, well, no, I was like, it's not called the Hive, like the HTC. What is it called? It's the Vive, right?
Vive, Vive. Hive Jump is an awesome indie game on the Wii U.
It needs
and
to come
Steam.
to Switch.
Yeah.
But you did get a code, didn't you? Did he ever respond about getting you a Steam code for that?
I didn't ask. I felt bad to ask for a Steam code, but I was kind of like, I don't want to play this on the Wii U. But
I know the Wii U, that's for sure dead. But
yeah, I need to hook up my Wii U to my desk so I can play through some of my old Wii U games, including Hive Jump. I want to give my impressions on that because, they were super cool to send us that copy. Like, it was just out of the blue. I'm surprised he remembered us. Like, out of the blue, we got a Hive Jump code. And so, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, we interviewed Matt Rathel, who is behind, or one of the minds behind Hive Jump, which is an awesome little indie game.
That's going way back.
Gorgeous.
It was like episode, I'm like 14 or something, I'm thinking, or like 20s, really in our
Hive Jump KOPPAI.
Maybe 30s, like at the very latest.
23.
Wow, yeah.
The perks of Nintendo innovation with Hive Jump's Matt Rathel.
Yeah, that's so early. It's probably really, really bad. It's like in terms of us.
Yeah, we made the mistake back. Oh no, that was also an episode where back then we recorded that one actually together. We were in the same room, and we did something. What did we do? Like we used like a headphone splitter so we could both hear him, and it made him super quiet because it was splitting the audio between the two of us. And so we were like, Matt, you're gonna have to speak up, man. And the poor guy's like cranking his mic and yelling. And
in his office building.
Yeah, like we listened. Poor guy's like in his cubicle, like. So we're really excited.
Yeah.
But then we listened back to it, and he's like super distorted because he was cranking his mic, and he didn't need to at all. It was our bad for telling him to speak up because our headphone splitter was all messed up. But that was back though. Like we had Xenoko from Typo Man on, and what was his name? Was it Gary from Operation Supply Drop, who we had on, and that was back when we had like a very set schedule of Nintendo Pipeline, topic of the show, you
Hmm.
know, Poke Block. Like we had the Poke Block for how long?
I don't know.
And
It's like an hour and a half later, we finally
yeah,
get to him, and we're like, "All right, now
yeah,
for the
we
interview
should have just
portion."
dropped everything and just interviewed him, but oh well. But yeah, so that's a little trip down memory lane for Koppai. If you guys have been one of our loyal listeners, you'll remember those times. But yeah, we're kind of shifting things around and moving forward. So let's talk about VR.
VR,
You've had VR since like the first few days that it came out.
right?
And have you played Oculus or HTC Vive Hive
No,
Jump?
I haven't played any of those. But
Awesome,
I,
yeah.
I mean, Oculus is that's the kind of what got the whole craze going, I guess, for
Yep.
VR. And so I've always wanted an Oculus Rift, even when it was in the dev kit, early stages of dev kit 1. And now
Yeah.
they've really perfected it to where that one seems to me, I guess, the Hive Jump like seems really, I mean, the full room scope, I think that they're very similar, and even like PSVR is, they're all kind of on a similar ground in many
Mhm.
respects. But Oculus just always seemed kind of the king to me. I always wanted that, but I unfortunately haven't ever gotten a chance to play it. The Move controllers for that, or whatever they're called, just
The
seem
touch,
so
yeah.
much better than what the PSVR offers.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is for the Vive, but do you know what they use for their
Well,
like?
I think maybe they're called like the Vive Touch controllers. I'm not too sure. I know like
It's
Oculus
very
calls them
similar,
Touch.
similar to
Yeah.
the Oculus ones.
Yeah, I use
Uh,
because I used those at the Microsoft Store. I've tried out both HTC Vive and Oculus Rift, and now I own PlayStation VR. And the big problem, I was talking to my wife about it because I was like opening up PlayStation VR and getting all excited about it, and I was talking about Oculus. Like I think they just recently announced a big price cut for it, where now it's like I think $400 for Oculus with the touch controllers, which is pretty crazy since it started out at 800. So they must have just been able to refine the tech to bring it down a lot. And
yeah,
the thing with that, like the thing with it though, that I think makes PlayStation VR excel so much is the Oculus. In my memory of trying it at I think Best Buy, was not comfortable at all. Like it smushed your face. It felt like you were wearing tight ski goggles,
right.
especially with glasses. I took them off and like my glasses like almost broke, like they were stuck inside it. Which you can wear contacts or something, but like even then, I would think even without glasses, it still doesn't change the fact that it's pretty small and tight on your head,
Mm-hmm.
and just I think they've even made them more compact maybe.
Yeah,
And the PlayStation VR, I'll just be laying on the couch with that thing on, and it just
yeah,
feels like a big
they
snuggy helmet on my head.
yeah, they nailed, I think, more than any of the headsets. Sony nailed the comfort factor
And
with.
style. It
Yeah,
looks
and
pretty cool
style. It
too.
looks so cool. Like, yeah, you get pictures taken with the lights on and stuff, and you just kind of look like a fool with like, especially the Vive. Like, I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen some of the shots of PewDiePie, like, rolling around his room, um, with that on. But you look kind of ridiculous. But you just can't
Yeah.
help but look cool with the Sony PSVR on there. And
Yeah.
so,
Some
uh,
people don't like the lights all over it, but I think those look pretty cool.
yeah, you look like you're
And
wearing some like Daft Punk helmet or something like that.
yeah.
But yeah, I've had it for about a year now, and it's it's gone through its periods. Like with any of my consoles, I mean, they
Mhm.
go through their periods of gathering dust and not playing them for a bit, and then I go on these spurts of like a new game comes out or something happens, like you getting it, and I'm suddenly back in. I'm like, all in on those games that I got and trying out the new things. The sale was really awesome to get on some of like what did I grab on the sale? I grabbed Volume
Drive Club.
and Drive Club VR, which Drive Club has been really awesome to play. Has like an insane amount of single player content, and I've been like really impressed with that over what the demo offered. But
Okay, yeah.
just like you haven't been impressed with Drive Club?
No, no, I have. I was just wondering. I haven't played to the single player content.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. No, it's like I don't know. There's all these little challenges. It's kind of have this Mario mechanic to it where each of it is like collecting the stars. Like there's 162 stars to collect in Drive Club. It's kind of weird. And you go through and like in the middle of the track, like you've kind of noticed this in when we race together, how it'll be like compete for average speed here. And so
Yeah.
you have to make sure like you take the corners right or do these different challenges within the challenge of beating the race
Yeah.
to get like all 3 stars, which, most games do nowadays anyway. But um, it's like it's just really awesome and makes you want to go in and play. And just it's just nuts the level of immersion you get with the VR games. Like
Yeah.
I've been playing some of the Resident Evil 7 that I bought like months and months ago, and just it was one of those times when it was, I don't know, I wasn't playing much VR, and now I've gone in and played a couple hours of it and just am like ready to get back in there and
It's
play some
terrifying
more.
for me. I don't
It
know about
is.
that.
It's so well. The cool thing about it is, I mean, like I'm not going in on like Resident Evil 7 for a second. It's like those movies like The Ring and stuff, and those kind of jump scare things. They don't really creep me out that much, or like the glitchy like creepy girl that comes up
Yeah.
on you like all freaky like. It's like it's so played out, these tropes, that
Yeah.
I'm not really. I've been skeptical like that I'll even be scared by it. I'm ready to try to be scared. There's been certain moments definitely where it's
I don't
like,
know, man. Batman VR scared me.
yeah.
It's like I don't
No,
like
but
do like
I'll
any.
I'll say on this Resident Evil, I mean, there's been a couple moments so far, like, I mean, it's, I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything, but just the atmosphere, and you get to kind of be like, all right, like, I don't know about this, and then one scene where I was just like, what on earth? Like, this is just madness.
Gotta
Like,
close your eyes almost.
I
Like,
know. Well, yeah, you're getting like in full 3D, somebody coming at you with a knife, like at your face, and you have to
yeah.
kind of like hold them back. It's like like it adds a whole new element to it, and just all of VR is like that too. It's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know, since you're a new VR owner, there's this question kind of posed by people, if it kind of ruins 2D gaming a little bit for you once you get that experience of like it's all full 3D, you're in
Yeah.
the world, and then you just kind of going back to regular old 2D gaming, you just keep thinking, I wish this was in VR. I wish this
I
somehow
don't
could
know.
work.
I think like especially there's a few games I've already played in VR, like Volume for example, where I was like, all right, no, I'm gonna do this in 2D. Like I'd prefer to play it in 2D because it is
Right.
more crisp. Now when VR gets to the point where it can be full HD, like this is like 10 years away from now where it's full HD and it's VR, like where technology gets to the point where it just can't even really, it's not separate anymore, kind of like how the Switch has been able to get portable gaming and HD. Like
Right.
you don't
Yeah.
have to pick and choose anymore. Like right now there's kind of, all right, do you want it to be portable, do you want it to be HD, or do you want it to be VR?
Hmm.
And eventually it'll be just, what do you want to do it as? And at that point I can imagine being like, well, why wouldn't you choose VR? But
Right.
like Volume for example was almost annoying, like with the kind of VR screen door effect and fuzz, that I was like, all right, I don't need to be in VR for this. But like Windlands, for example, would be such a boring game if it wasn't VR. Like
Yeah.
VR is what makes it, or even Batman Arkham VR would be a pretty boring Batman game if you weren't, in Gotham and in the bat suit and using his stuff to look around. And I mean, just being in the Batcave, like looking up and seeing everything, was just insane. And Drive Club like could work, but yeah, just driving is so much more enhanced when you're in the driver's seat and looking around. And I actually did prefer doing the, what is it, like the hood view, where you're like basically as if you're laying on the hood of the car,
Yeah.
because it is actually kind of cool. Like it does have the outline of the headlights, so
You're
you
like
almost feel,
Sonic.
yeah, like it feels like you are the car.
Right.
So like I was driving around and like looking around, like like targeting the people I wanted to round into and drive around. Um, so like yeah, in that way it's really enhanced. But I think there's always gonna be a place for 2D gaming. But yeah, I think I mean you talk about the people coming at you with a knife. There's a scene in Batman VR where someone gets like right up to your face, like you can't even pull away really, and especially when they get close and the VR is able to just kind of focus in and offer like that moment of pretty intense clarity. Like it's not HD, but it is very clear,
Hmm.
and it looks like someone's really up in your face. And especially one thing I didn't really realize with VR, until I was like able to play like long bursts of it, is just how much it enhances the scale of something, which is what makes Skyrim so exciting.
Right.
Is that really, really makes everything, it makes you realize the scale of, how tall someone is or how big something is, and or how small something is. And it's going to be crazy to go to places in Skyrim, like, what is it, the Throat of the World or something, that mountain. Like, you'll be able
Yeah.
to look at that mountain and look up at it and be like, dang, I have to climb this whole thing. And I'm hoping they have the survival mod for the game, because it'll get colder as you go up, and that's just going to be awesome. Or even in Windlands, looking down off a cliff and being able to see how far you've walked has a little bit of a different sensation than when you would, walk really far in Zelda or something like that.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that's definitely crazy. But
Yeah,
we
definitely. I mean, I think Nintendo, especially once they eventually get into it with the things they've proven with, the 3DS and being able to do things with depth, I think something they could do would be really, really impressive. Just
yeah.
playing with the fun aspects. Like that's one of the things I love about VR is it's kind of new territory in a lot of
Mhm.
ways, and so a lot of people are inspired in that way of when 3D was first being kind of explored, and there was a lot of experimentation and a lot of crap, but a lot of really promising and really amazing stuff that was popping up around that time too. And then with that promise, just knowing the future is just going to bring so much better. And then what's really exciting is to see that, like on this anniversary, they put that blog post up that like 80 new games
Yeah.
plus are coming to PSVR, and some of them just look absolutely incredible. And they just keep perfecting like the with their updates to it, to certain things, the issues, and there's new move controllers coming. I really want
Wait,
them to add like analog
what are the new
sticks.
move controllers coming?
I don't think they add analog sticks to them, but I don't know when they're coming for sure. So I don't know how much of an improvement they really are.
Oh, just like
But
some slight tweaks and adjustments and all that, just
yeah,
improved maybe connectivity and all that.
yeah. But I don't know. It's the PSVR. I know that I have gotten a lot more worth out of it than my Xbox, for
Yeah.
example. Like I have a pretty big catalog of games for my PSVR, and they're all really solid games too. Super Hypercube is a really awesome kind of arcadey game. There's this Crystal Rift game that's like a dungeon crawler that I kind of want to go get back into a little bit, a little before Skyrim maybe, because it kind of has that same sort of vibe. And I don't know how like roguelike it is, but I'm just kind of feeling that kind of thing, and that's what I'm really loving about like Skyrim VR coming out. We've been talking how it seems like it's going to add with that immersion, like playing Dead is Dead runs and RPGs. Like I would love one day games like Grand Theft Auto to be in VR. Like just
Or
the
even like
American Truck Simulator needs to
Far
come
Cry
out, by the way.
Primal, or just even like just a normal Far Cry game, like
Yeah,
something like
Minecraft.
that. Yeah, Minecraft,
Minecraft is
please.
on Gear, on the Samsung Gear VR for like the mobile version, and I hear
What?
it's really amazing. But and it's also
PlayStation
on the
just doesn't play
Rift.
nice with Mojang and Microsoft. Like that's just the
Yeah,
bummer part about it. But
yeah.
no, yeah, like I mean, yeah, you talk about the 80 games coming out. We got Skyrim, Doom VR,
Mhm.
all those like tiny indies. I think you sent that link to a one where you can like fly around the whole world and just like destroy things. Like it's like aliens are invading, and
Yeah.
yeah, it makes you
No Man's
mentioned.
Sky would be saved by a
Yeah,
VR patch, I think. Like it would definitely bring a whole new life, and I'm really surprised they haven't done it yet, because I
they
would
did
think.
like they never like looking back in hindsight at that team and the things they said and how some people think they weren't completely honest. They did always say that they weren't against doing VR. Like people always kind of thought they were being coy and like kind of hiding it.
Hmm.
And now we know they were just very genuine when they said like we're a small team and there's only so much we can do. Like let's just get the game out. Like I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if you got three people there working on continuous updates, because they do keep adding a lot of updates, like the Atlas thing and
Hmm.
building bases and all that. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's just like one guy there that's like, all right, you're gonna get a PlayStation VR dev kit and just try it out, like see what you can put in there, what it can handle, and how we can adjust the game to fine tune to that, how we need to adjust, character models and just anything like that to make VR work. And that would be the kind of company and the kind of studio and game update that would come out a week before it actually comes out or a month before it comes out, and they just say, hey, you know,
Yeah,
there's a
totally.
new update that's adds virtual reality mode.
Yeah,
If
and I can
you're
see it coming out, yeah, in a year or two from now. Like they're
yeah.
still just doing like some random little update. Like I see for No Man's Sky's case, kind of their whole multiplayer and getting that figured out more is probably more important to them because people
Mhm.
have just been so disappointed since that came out that they were like, you'll be able to find your friend, eventually. I mean, the odds are that, it won't, but they're out there somewhere and you could technically stumble upon them, and that turned out to be false. So everybody was all, I think that was one of the reasons a lot of people asked for refunds for that game, was when they found out that was kind of a blatant lie.
Yeah,
Like that
like
was one
someone
of the
landed on the
most,
same planet or something and just couldn't
yeah,
see each other.
it was the most like provable like lie that they'd said, yeah,
Mhm.
you'll fail to find your friend. And now they've kind of implemented it with these orbs that I think a lot of people still feel is kind of cheap and like
Yeah.
doesn't really feel like a great experience together. So I think they're going to keep tweaking that. And I don't even know. I think they're kind of lost as a studio because of the whole fallout from it, that they're like, they don't have the ambition or even drive to know if people are going to,
Well,
positively
and the other
receive
bummer
or
part is like if anyone or if they come out with any updates, and we can get off No Man's Sky soon,
yeah.
but the bummer part is if if say they come out with an update where they add a VR mode, and everyone that has No Man's Sky that owns it wants to go play that update, they all go and play it, but that doesn't, give them any more money,
Mhm.
like it just gives them goodwill and good PR, which will help out with their next game sales, but maybe they're just still kind of riding the money from the original sales because they did do like really well. But like if they come out with any sort of updates, unless they add in like microtransactions or if they sell the update, but they couldn't come out now and be like, hey, we're adding a VR update and you guys have to pay $20 for it, because people would be like, no way, like you should have given that to us in the first place, like. And little Ollie with his little squeaky toy over here in the
What
corner.
Shuhei should do is go to them and say, you need to make a VR update so that we can sell more PSVR units, because I think it'll make people interested in VR a little more. We need more VR stuff. You guys do that, and we won't make sure your studio dies.
Yeah,
And we'll
what
make
they
sure
also
that we'll give you a little bit like to make a new game or like help you out
well, I was gonna say
like
what they should
on
do
good
is
faith.
they should like pay whatever the deal is. They should pay to have No Man's Sky free on PlayStation Plus, and then do that in the same month that like a VR update comes out. So
Hmm.
be like, so Sony pays the price to have it free on PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus proceeds go to No Man's Sky and Hello Games, and people are incentivized to download it and get back on their PlayStation and then be in that PlayStation ecosystem, which benefits Sony, and also download the PlayStation VR update. And then
Yeah.
also because everyone has this brand new free No Man's Sky game on their console for free with a new VR update, maybe they're also motivated to go out and buy a PlayStation VR headset. And it's just like everyone wins,
I
everyone's helped
just
out.
I just wonder what what the industry thinks of that team now, and like what Shuhei and Sony personally think of that, because they kind of went out and got a lot of hype for No Man's Sky on the PlayStation, it seemed. And it was like, I remember Shuhei, every time he'd like try it out, he was kind of excited for it, but it seemed like he was like, so what, like, all right, like, okay, like show me how this is a game. Like, okay, so you do this and this, and it was like he was like trying to be so optimistic for it, but everybody was a little like, when they stumble upon the coast of this planet and there'd be these little dweeby like creatures coming around, just hopping around and like all coexisting right there on the shore together just fine, and like running
Yeah.
away from you and stuff. It was just a little bit like, what's going on exactly here?
Yeah.
Like, and so I just wonder, do they have any future whatsoever anymore?
I think they'll make it. They may have to like rename themselves. I don't know, but I mean, I just can't imagine they're out for the count. Like I think the gaming industry can also be super forgiving, and like quickly turn things around if you can just really get out there and impress.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, with Star Wars Battlefront, for example, we talked about that last week. But people hated Battlefront 1 for what it did, like charging so much for the season pass and not including any of the other eras and no single player mode and just so many weird kind of selfish things on EA's part. Was it EA or is it EA Activision? I'm not too sure, but the company's part.
Right.
And now with Battlefront 2, it's one of the most anticipated games, and people are so excited, and they're like, "You guys are doing everything right." And now everyone's mad again because they added loot boxes, but then they found out, then they came out and said, "Oh, none of the loot boxes unlock high-end gear. It's only mid-tier gear if you want to accelerate your character from low tier." And so now everyone's like, okay, cool, we forgive you again, and we're so hyped for the game. And it as long it just goes back and forth. Or even with a game like Destiny, people were so hyped for Destiny 1, then Destiny 1 was a huge letdown, but then the Taken King was amazing, so everyone got back on board. But then there was a long drought of content, but now Destiny 2 is high praises, but now Destiny 2, it just goes back and forth. And so I think if Hello Games could come out and just deliver a good message in a good game, they could be easily forgiven. They just have to really nail it. They can't mess up again.
Right.
And
yeah.
All that. But yeah, thank you for listening to No Man's Sky Cast.
Yeah, well, I think it was a good little talk. It's kind of interesting.
It was good.
But going back to VR, I think I'm super hyped. Like Skyrim seems, when they announced that, it got a whole bunch of dislikes on the trailer. I remember because it was that stupid thing of here comes Skyrim again. We're gonna port it to the Apple II and Windows 95
Switch,
here.
VR, everything.
It was like here we go with Skyrim again, and it was oh, I'm hyped for this because I have VR, and this has been a dream. I've seen people playing Skyrim with the Oculus because there's mods out for that, and I've wanted that forever. And so to see them do it, I was yes. And then it was all disliked. I'm please, don't take this the wrong way, because a lot of people are actually really excited for this. And so yeah,
only 1/70th of PlayStation owners have a PlayStation VR. So
right.
And not to say that if you don't have it, you have sour grapes or something, but it makes sense that there's people out there that don't have it and they just want to just want it to be gone or something. In the same way that there's lots of people with a Switch that are I don't want to hear about this game coming to Switch. Let's whatever. But PSVR, I think the other reason people disliked it is because it has that stupid teleportation system for getting around, which I don't know why. I just watched, because I'm so hyped for it now. I just watched literally from a week or two ago. They were on ABC News, and one of the Bethesda PR guys was there, and he was showing it off. And I guess maybe I do know the reason, but he was showing it off with the teleportation controls again, and it's stop showing that, because I think people a lot of times it gets dislikes, because I was reading the comments, people were wait, this sucks, this isn't this looks way more janky than normal Skyrim, who wants to teleport around? And the other half of the comments are people oh, hop to 6 minutes in, he mentions that you can use a controller, and it's besides if we kind of were just able to watch the trailer and be oh yeah, obviously it's not teleporting because the character is walking around, but it's just, and as far as the marketing goes for it, they really aren't showing that with live demos. And I think the reason he said that is because they're showing it to people on demo floors, on these ABC News, Jimmy Fallon events, to people that don't really do VR, so you don't want to throw them into a full locomotion experience.
Right.
They're, trying to take it easy, but I wish they would. I wish almost they'd go on a Jimmy Fallon show, be this is Skyrim VR. We have Pete Hines over here. He's going to be playing for us today, and just have Pete fully ready to go, locomotion, and just show it off with a controller in hand. But maybe it's just not as flashy compared to someone holding up two swords with their hand and swinging their flames around and stuff. But
yeah, they probably think the worst thing we want is to demo this for Jimmy Fallon and him be whoa, that feel oh, I don't feel very good.
Or Jimmy Fallon would make it pretty funny though. He'd be taking it off and puking.
But still, even that perception
behind everybody.
Even if it was comedic, I think that'd be a kind of a negative thing that people would be kind of looking over concerned, is he all right? He was kind of making light of it. It looked like he got seriously green in the face for a minute there, this must be something wrong, it's gonna rot your brain. And so bags under his eyes. I was thinking about too, I don't know if you saw it, but IGN just even a few weeks or a month ago, it was they posted a video. It was so Skyrim for PSVR is shaping out to look pretty bad or something
Yeah, it
like
was
that.
Alana Pierce. Which
Yeah,
she gets super sick though from VR. She's mentioned that on like Podcast Unlocked, I
yeah,
think.
but to say that it's shaping out to look pretty bad because she demoed it with the motion teleportation stuff and said that it just kind of took the life out of it, and
Right.
a couple people have been saying that. It's like, why don't say that when when you're told that you can use a whole other method and the control options are
At the
there.
time, did they know? Like at
Uh,
E3, was it announced? I guess
yeah,
actually,
it was at E3 that they said that you would be allowed to, and the
yeah,
trailer I think and stuff all showed it. So I
that's
don't know,
true.
but um, yeah, it just seemed a little like, I don't know. It's not something
Yeah.
you'd say. I see. I think honest reporting would be saying that the teleportation and this element of it is shaped
Yeah.
to
It'd
be
be like saying
harmful.
Super Mario Odyssey is shaping up to be really bad with the motion controls. And it's like,
Yeah.
which by the way, we've talked about it a little bit in the past, and we'll have it in a couple weeks, so I won't dwell on it. But I gotta play more Super Mario Odyssey, another 20 minutes or so,
Yeah.
at Target. Check out your local Target. You maybe have a demo available. And I was able just to hold it in just a normal Joy-Con setup instead of having the split Joy-Cons. And Mario, I'll say it again, he still controls a little wonky. He has a little bit of that movement where, like, what is it? Like, I think of a game like The Witcher 3, which is just the most relevant example in my head right now, where an example in The Witcher 3, you guy turns around, Geralt doesn't just, do a complete 180. He has to kind of pull his body into a circle so it looks natural. And Mario kind of does that same thing where if you tell Mario to turn around, he does his little, like, puts his hands out and spins in a little circle. And because of that, I feel like there's just a few moments where you're trying to tell Mario to go somewhere and he doesn't exactly go there.
Have
And
you seen the people like speed running the game though and stuff? Like, it seems a
yeah,
lot of people have
I
been
feel like
getting.
it'll be one of those games where you just, you get natural with it. You become one with Mario after hours and hours of playing.
Yeah, but you would think
Um,
that it'd be something that is brought up that in all these speedrunning videos they'd be like, man, Mario has this whole like new way of turning and moving that is different than other games,
it
and
just, I don't know
so
what it feels like. I've heard the complaints though. I have heard them from like, people at E3 and
yeah, I'll
stuff. Like,
have to look into that because I have not really observed that movement. I've heard you mention it before, and then I kind of forget about it, and I need to actually like look at that because that's pretty interesting. I know that you mentioned, I think in Witcher 3 there's like an option to turn that off
yeah,
so that you can like just more naturally, or but
it's just
I was
and I
also
think
wondering if you were like used to the way like you've been controlling in Zelda or other games, for example, and now it's been a while since you played a game like Sunshine or Mario 64, and maybe you just
yeah, it could just be like a 3D Mario. I don't remember it being a problem in 3D World that much.
right.
But it does kind of feel maybe similar to Galaxy, for example, where with Galaxy you couldn't even control the camera angle. Like it was usually like a pretty set camera angle because you only had the one analog stick, so you couldn't like you had to kind of use Z targeting and stuff like that too. Or
Hmm.
not Z targeting, but where you'd click the camera into place like whenever you wanted to click somewhere. And so
Yeah.
it reminds me kind of that where you can control the camera freely in Odyssey, but it just feels a little wonky sometimes. But yeah, sorry, just I had to randomly bring that up. But yeah, it'd be like going back to the Skyrim thing. It'd be like saying Mario's not shaping up to be good because of that, and I think it's Bethesda's own fault though for advertising it. So much heavily focused on the
Totally.
the teleportation. Like
I think
they should have like a pretty long demo at like an E3 show floor or like a press conference thing where they like show someone playing with a controller. Like I just want to know what that looks like. I want to see someone doing it live, responding and being like, "Oh, I can walk over here real quick." But
well, to
just
me, the whole teleportation thing, it shows to me like a disconnect between a developer and the core, hardcore, real gaming audience. Because I think a lot of people, since the beginning of their gaming, if you're really into gaming, if you grew up gaming, you're a kid, you probably, I know at least I did, like would want to. I even devised getting a box and like putting it in front of the TV, so just me and my vision was just all with the TV, and you kind of wanted to be able to close off the rest of the world and just have you in the game, or just get as close to being as immersed in it as you possibly could. Like everybody I
yeah,
feel who's like really into gaming has wanted to just get into the game as much as they can and not feel limited, be able to be in a game where you can, it's like that few E3s ago where that kid stepped in for Reggie and he's like, I want to make a game where you can just do anything and go anywhere and do whatever you want. And it's like everybody wants that experience, and Skyrim is one of those games that's kind of like that. And a lot of these games, I feel like when Final Fantasy 15, they were showing off like this VR thing and everybody's like, woohoo, and then they like show that it's teleportation and everybody's like, oh, whatever. It's like, and then it ends up not even being made because I think people were just like, this looks like crap, like who wants to just teleport around and do this really crappy thing. Like, it seems to be appealing with the teleportation to a super casual, like somebody who doesn't even care about games, who's like just kind of introducing into the VR world. It's like those aren't even the people that want to get a VR.
Yeah, well,
you
even
know,
like
it's
the
like
Doom trailer was like, you know, enter the world of Doom, and like the elevator opens and the demons are pouring in, and like what are you, the Praetor suit and stuff, and you just teleport through them, and it's like, wait, what just happened? Like, and it's like this little yellow dot like all over the place, and he's like, you know, zipping and zapping around. I'm like, first of all, like I feel like that would make me more like dizzy and like freaking out. Like I'd be like, wait, how did I get over here? I'd be like looking around like all unnatural, like trying to figure out like where I'm standing and look around and all of that. And like, and second, it's just like, yeah, that's just, you know, it ruins the game, I think. And I get maybe just the reason they have it is not only because of the locomotion, but it's because it's really the only way to use motion controls and move, because the move doesn't have the navigation stick, at least the ones that are compatible with VR. And so maybe that's the reason why, like, they really want to push being able to swing your sword around. Although I think it was Greg Miller from Kinda Funny was saying that the motion controls actually aren't that fun with Skyrim VR, because with a controller you have that haptic feedback where you pull the trigger, you swing the sword, your sword hits the enemy, the controller vibrates a little, and you know, you can't like do anything beyond that. Where the motion controller, you have a move controller and it's a sword, you swing your sword at a human, you decapitate them, or like, no, not even that, like you swing your sword at a human, you hit their head, and they have a helmet on, so your sword just goes through their head and it doesn't kill them because, you know, they have a lot of health, but you were swinging your sword through their head. Like, that doesn't make sense. With a controller, that doesn't happen because your sword stops when it hits their head. And so like, he was saying it was kind of weird. He was almost waving his sword around like a wand because he's just like kind of poking it at someone. And with the move controller, there's nothing in the game to like, you know, stop his hand in real life. Like, at least with the Joy-Cons, you have that, you know, really pushback. Like, they probably could pull that off really well, like, which is why Nintendo needs to do VR. Maybe we can even end our show on that kind of discussion of when's Nintendo going to do VR. But yeah, it's just, I feel like the controller would be the ideal way to play for so many reasons, and especially with a shooter, you know, you're pulling the triggers and all that. I mean, I guess you could argue that the move controller is actually really nice for a shooter. Hopefully Doom actually has compatibility with that aim controller. That'd be a good time to get it. Farpoint and Doom, but
definitely.
Yeah, so that's all that. And I think, you know, when it's November that Skyrim VR comes out, and Skyrim originally came out November 11th. Do we have a release date for Skyrim on Switch?
Yeah, it's the 17th. I think it's all the same. I think it's the same for VR and Switch. It's November 17th.
We don't know for VR. They haven't confirmed that.
Oh, they haven't?
It just, if you go to the VR page, it just says November.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, for Switch it is the 17th.
Or maybe, wait. Skyrim VR release date. It's November 11th, 2011. Because I've seen.
Well, when you type it, release date. So I did, and then it said November.
It says 11/2017. So maybe they could do.
A second here, Google.
Typing through, figuring this out, because that'd be a Friday.
See, if I go Skyrim VR release date, if I go back to the Nintendo Switch subreddit, which I was on, and then I go google.com and I hit tab on my Chrome browser, you can try this at home, and I start typing in Skyrim VR release date, under it, it says November 17th, 2017 as I'm typing it in and haven't even clicked search.
What?
So why would that be? Do you want me to send you the screenshot of what I'm seeing?
No, what I'm saying is I am on www.playstation.com/en-us/games/the-elder-scrolls-v-skyrim-vr-PlayStation 4 and under release date it says November 2017.
Look at
No,
this picture that I have sent you on your mobile device right now. And you will
that's
see.
that is bizarre. But maybe that's just because it's your cookies. Maybe it's just like your suggested search or something. Maybe you've searched in the past for Skyrim VR release date, or maybe Google, because Google also told me that the release date was November 11th, 2011. So maybe Google just is pulling the most recent date for a Skyrim game, and they know that Skyrim Switch is the 17th, so they're like, oh, VR is probably the same day, but it's not. Because on the official PlayStation
Skyrim VR
site,
will be coming November 17th for PlayStation VR. Doom VFR is releasing December 1st for PlayStation VR and HTC Vive, and Fallout 4 VR will release December 12th. So I do think it's the 17th.
Who is this Jordan Serrani on IGN? I want them in KOPPAI Studios. We need to talk
And this
to
is
them.
according to The Verge, Eurogamer, TechRaptor, PlayStation Life. So several sources saying November 17th.
All right, so that means here's our schedule for KOPPAI then. Our VR celebration today. Next week we're going to be talking about the fractured butthole. The week after that, we won't have Mario yet, will we?
Okay, we got Fractured, and then yes, we will.
No, we won't.
We'll have it for 2 days. Yes, because next week will be Fractured on the 21st or the 22nd, and then we'll record on the 29th, which...
Oh, no, yeah. So this week, yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, Fractured is like in 2 days, but we won't talk, or tomorrow, but we won't talk about it until this next episode. And then we'll get Destiny 2 PC, which we probably won't talk about too much because then Friday we'll get Mario. Maybe actually we'll have to do like our initial impressions of Mario, but maybe we can even do like a full discussion on Destiny 2 or something. And then the week
We'll
after.
do it. We'll have to do... It'll all be Mario. It'll be initial impressions and review, probably.
Yeah.
Like,
Read reviews from online, what other people are saying. It already has its first perfect score from Edge magazine.
Yeah.
They also gave Breath of the Wild a perfect score, so they just got really pumped for the Switch this year. But yeah, so yeah, we'll have to do
and I hear they tend to go a little bit lower on their scores, like for most games. Like they have a reputation for going like half a point or half a score lower than average. Like Samus Returns, I think got an 8 or something from them. It's like averaging 8.5 from most people. But I don't know. Seems like Breath of the Wild and Odyssey are competing for... Nintendo's competing with itself for Game of the Year this year.
I don't know, man.
Horizon's kind of poking there. Yeah,
Windland's my Game of the Year. But yeah, no. So yeah, next
and you can't forget Pokemon still coming. Although I don't know if that swings in. Like I don't know when the Game of the Year contendees, end, or when that kind of cuts off to consideration, or you know what I mean? Because don't they do that sometimes, like with the Oscars and Grammys and stuff, where it's to a certain time, and then from like November, December-ish, it goes into the next year.
I think Jeff Keighley from the Game Awards tweeted out that like I think they're going up to like the last minute. Like I think they're going to try to get as many games as possible in consideration. But
yeah, what is the Game Awards?
That's December. Let me guess before you Google it. December 7th.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it. Because I know that the collector's edition or complete edition of Horizon Zero Dawn is the 6th, and so that must come out the Game Awards are the next day. Yeah, and last year I think it was the 8th, so they usually do that like first weekend or so. That's super hype. I love the Game Awards. Jeff Keighley, come on the show. Come hang out with us.
Bill.
And Bill Trennan, where are you? You have like 25 more episodes to get over here to KOPPAI Studios. But yeah, no. So yeah, next week is all South Park. Week after that's all Mario, And then in a couple weeks, we'll have another episode about Skyrim VR with our first impressions. Maybe, honestly, even a Let's Play series. Maybe do the return of Jesus of Skyrim VR, where I don't kill or steal or lie. I did 10 episodes of that on my old YouTube channel. Could bring that back. You could even do a Let's Play series, maybe. You don't have a capture card, but you could live stream it from your PlayStation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because you have the PlayStation camera, so you could just use that, and that would record you in your little head and your headset. You don't have to worry about being all charismatic because you have a big headset on your head. If you did some Dead is Dead runs on Koppai's channel, that'd be legit.
We're doing it.
I wonder.
You heard it here first, folks.
I wonder how live chat works on PlayStation VR. Like, because when you live stream on PlayStation, you can choose to have that pulled up.
Just text popping up.
Yeah, just like all over your eyes, just like over the screen in gameplay. It's just like Noah Kenny says hi. Waves. Noah Kenny's waving.
They kind of do that in Resident Evil. Some things will kind of like captions and subtitles and stuff will kind of appear like right in front of your face.
Just so you don't miss it.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, that concludes Koppai Podcast episode 75. Happy birthday, PlayStation VR. And thanks to you and the family for sending me in some PlayStation money to celebrate that. And thanks to my wife again for PlayStation VR. And
happy
it was an
birthday.
awesome birthday. I got, and also shout out to Mom. She got me Lego Dimensions. And so we actually played a bit of that. And I got to try out Mario. And we went to the diner. And I had the best Jolly Roger burger I've ever had from the diner. Jolly Roger burger is a burger with jalapenos. And I think it's raspberry cream cheese. It's so good. So we had that, and my wife made me some pecan pie.
Sounds so good.
Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna go have a piece right now of some leftover pie.
Delish.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next week with Fractured Butthole. But until next time.